Good day, class. Our lesson for today is all about functions of management. Management has been described as a social process involving responsibility for economical and effective planning and regulation of operation of an enterprise in the fulfillment of given purposes. It is a dynamic process consisting of various elements and activities. These activities are different from operative functions like marketing, finance, purchase, etc. Rather, these activities are common to each and every manager, irrespective of his level or status. According to Henry Payol, to manage is to forecast and plan, to organize, to command, and to control. Then, according naman kay Luther Golick, has given a keyword, POSCORB, where P stands for planning, O for organizing, S for stopping, D for directing, CO for coordination, then R for reporting, and last B for budgeting. Next, we have fundamental functions of management. So a manager has fundamental functions. Una, we have planning. So if we say planning, it is the basic function of management. So it deals with chalking out a future course of action and deciding in advance the most appropriate course of actions for achievement of predetermined goals. So it has something to do with the organizational goals. Then according to Kuntz, planning is deciding in advance. So you are visualizing, what to do, ano bang dapat gawin, when to do or kailan gagawin, and how to do, papaano gagawin. So it bridges the gap from where we are and where we want to be. So andun yung vision and mission, yung goal nandun. So planning is so essential and vital to the organization. Thus, planning is a systematic thinking about ways and means for accomplishment of predetermined goals. So, planning is necessary. So, kailangan ang pagpaplano to ensure proper utilization of human and non-human resources. It is all-pervasive, it is an intellectual activity, and it also helps in avoiding confusion, uncertainties, risk, wastages, etc. The second basic function of management is the organizing. So if we say organizing, it is the process of bringing together physical, financial, and human resources and developing productive relationship amongst them for achievement of organizational goals. So as a manager, you have to be organized. Kailangan maayos lahat. Then according to Henry Fayol, to organize a business is to provide it with everything useful for its functioning. So in other words, yung mga materials, mga tools, capital, and personnel. To organize a business involves determining and providing human and non-human resources to the organizational structure. Organizing as a process involves, una, identification of activities. Ano ba yung mga gagawin? Ano ba yung mga tasks? Number two, classification of grouping of activities. So, yung nandiyan yung, you have to classify, Number 3, assignment of duties. You have to assign those duties sa yung mga nasasakupan, sa yung mga subordinates, sa yung mga employee. Number 4, delegation of authority and creation of responsibility. So, you have to delegate, kung ano ba yung function ng isang tao, ng isang nasasakupan mo, yung mga subordinates mo, ano ba yung mga authority na mayroon sila dapat. So, dapat you have to clarify that. Then, yung kanilang mga responsibilidad bilang member of the organization, as a member of the team. Number 5, we have coordinating authority and responsibility relationships. The next basic function of management is staffing. So the whole point here in staffing class, you have to choose the right person for the right job. Piliin mo, depende sa kanyang capability, sa kanyang kakayahan. So you have to put the right man on the right job. In other words, square pegs in square holes and round pegs in round holes. So, sa manager class, in this function, it involves number one, manpower planning, estimating manpower in terms of searching, choose the person, and giving the right place. Number two, recruitment, selection, and placement. The third one, training and development. Number four, remuneration, performance appraisal, and promotions and transfer. Next basic function, we have directing. So it is a key to managerial function. It is the part of managerial function which actuates the organizational methods to work efficiently for the achievement of organizational purposes. So after you plan, after you organize, after you staffing, then you have to direct your people. No? You have to execute those plans. We have elements of directing. Number one, supervision. Of course, as a manager, you have to supervise the work of your subordinates. Number two, you have to motivate them. Of course, kailangan may motivation ka sa yung mga subordinates. Then the third one, leadership. As a manager, you need to have a leadership that would inspire them, that would guide them and influence them. The fourth one, communication. So you have to communicate with your subordinates. Kailangan may maganda yung communicating skills mo with them. So those are the elements of directing. Next basic function, we have controlling. So if we see controlling, it implies measurement of accomplishment against the standards and correction of deviation, if any, to ensure achievement of organizational goals. So the purpose of controlling is to ensure that everything occurs in conformities with the standards. So yun yung pinaka purpose, in accordance, no, doon sa standard ng organization. So according to Theo Heyman, controlling is the process of checking. Take note, the process of checking whether or not tama ba yung task, yung work na ginagawa within the organization towards to attain the objectives and goals, and acting if necessary to correct any deviation. Nang sa ganun ay makita mo kung ano ba yung mga dapat itama, ano ba yung mga dapat idagdag pa or tanggalin for the betterment of the organization. According to Cons and O'Donnell, controlling is the measurement and correction. Take note, measurement and correction. So, nandun yung precaution, and correction kung may dapat itama sa performance activities ng iyong mga subordinates, in order to make sure that the enterprise objectives and plans desired to obtain them as being accomplished. Then we have steps in controlling. Una, establishment of standard performance. Okay. Number two, measurement of actual performance. The third one, comparison of actual performance. So, nandyan yung observation, analysis, evaluation with the standards and finding out deviation if any. Then, number four, corrective action. Next, we have rules of manager within the organization. Number one rules, we have figurehead rule of manager. So with this, managers perform the duties that are ceremonial and symbolic, symbolic in nature, like welcoming official visitors. Sila yung mga frontliner. So signing legal documents as head of the organization or strategic business unit or department. So for example, in contract signing, sila yung mga nandyan. This is figurehead role of manager. So, duties of interpersonal rules include routine involving little serious communication. Sila yung mga nakikipag-negotiate, unless important decisions. However, they are important for the smooth functioning of an organization or department. Number two is the leadership role of manager. So, lahat ng manager have a leadership role. The manager is in charge of the organization, department, coordinates the work of others, and leads his subordinates. So, this role includes hiring, training, motivating, and disciplining employees. Okay, yung mga dapat nilang, yan yung mga duties ng isang manager. So, formal authority and functional authority provide greater potential power to exercise and get the things done. Next, we have the liaison role of manager. So, as bilang liaison, you are the person who establishes communication, motivation. Then you have to encourage team spirit or unity and the like. Then you also have to coordinate the activities of your subordinates. Okay, so this rule requires the manager to interact with other managers. Kailangan na nandun yung communication mo din with the other managers outside the organization to secure yung favors and information. So, kailangan na may communication ka. You have to establish a good relationship with the other managers outside the organization. So, in this role, the manager represents his organization in all matters of formality. You are the representative of your organization bilang isang liaison. Next, we have the monitoring role of manager. So, as a result of the network of contacts, the manager gets the information by scanning his environment. Ibig sabihin, yung kanyang observation dun sa kanyang paligid, sa kanyang mga subordinates, sa kanyang mga allies, and mga heads. Okay? The manager seeks and receives information concerning internal. Pag sinabing internal, within your organization, sa loob ng yung organization, and external events, sa labas, so as to gain understanding of the organization at yung mga nakapalibot sa kanya na ibang organization. So, typically, this is done sa pamamagitan ng pagbabasa ng magazines, for example, at pakikipag-usap sa iba't ibang managers din, sa iba't ibang heads to learn the changes in the public's taste, what competitors may be planning, and the like. So, kailangan aware ka din sa inside and outside your organization. Sa ganun, malaman mo din kung ano yung mga plano or activities ng yung mga competitors. Importante yan. So, mostly, collect information in verbal form, often as gossip, mga hearsay, speculation, and to graphene channels. Number 5, disseminator role of manager. So, bilang isang manager, you disseminates the information. Kailangan pinapakalat mo yung informasyon. He collects from different sources and to various means. He passes some of the privileged information directly to his subordinates. Saka sa lahat ng kanyang mga nasasakupan, sinasabi niya yung mahalagang impormasyon maging sa kanyang mga heads who otherwise have no access to it. So, the manager will play an important role in disseminating the information to his subordinates. So, kailangan malaman lahat ng information about the organization. Kailangan alam yan ng kanyang mga subordinates when they don't have contact with one another. Number 6, so bilang isang manager, ikaw yung nagsisilbing spokesman ng organization. Ikaw ay, you have to speak, on behalf of the organization and transmit information on organization's plan, policies, and actions. Ikaw yung spokesman bilang isang manager. Diyan ilalatag mo lahat kung anong mga plano, kung ano yung mga pulisiya, at mga hakbang na gagawin within your organization. So, ikaw lahat yung magsasabi niyan bilang spokesman. Next, entrepreneurial role of manager. So, as a manager, ikaw yung creator and innovator. No? Kung ano ba yung mga bago. No? Ikaw yung nag-i-initiate at nag-oversee ng mga bagong produkto na siyang makakatulong sa performance ng iyong organization. Ikaw ay you seek to improve your department. Yan. You have to adapt to the changing environmental factors. So, halimbawa ngayon, you have to be flexible bilang isang manager for the sake of your organization. So, the manager would like to have new ideas. Ayan, kailangan yan, may bago kang idea palagi. Initiates new projects and initiates the developmental projects. Next, disturbance handler rule of manager. So, from the word itself, disturbance. So, as a disturbance handler, managers take corrective action to respond to previously unforeseen problems. So, kahit sa organization, hindi yan nawawalan ng problema. So, bilang isang disturbance handler, you present the manager as the involuntarily responding to pressures. Hindi nawawala ang pressures sa organization. Pressures of the situation are severe and highly demand the attention of the manager. So, as a manager, ikaw yung unang dapat mag-response sa problema. Maliit man yan or malaki. And as such, the manager cannot ignore the situation. Hindi mo pwedeng baliwalain yan bilang isang manager. So, for example, ng disturbance, nandyan yung mga nagwewelga, declining sales, kung bumababa yung sales ng organization, or bankruptcy of a major customer. Yan. So, the manager should have enough time in handling disturbance. Kailangan maging maingat. You have to be skillful and effective. Number 9, resource allocator, the role of manager. It is the most important resource that the manager allocates to his subordinates is his time. Ito yung pinaka-important resource na maibibigay mo sa yung mga subordinates, yung time. Okay? As a resource allocator, the managers are responsible for allocating human, physical, and monetary resources. Okay? Then the manager should have an open door policy and allow the subordinates to express their opinions and share their experiences. So, kailangan bilang isang manager, mayroon kang demokrasya. You allow your subordinates, yung mga tao mo na masabi din yung kanilang mga opinion. You involve them in decision-making process. So, this process helps both the manager and his subordinates in making effective decisions. Next, number 10, negotiator rule of manager. So, the manager represents the organization in bargaining and negotiations with outsiders and insiders. Halimbawa, sa isang bidding, so ikaw yung makikipag-bargain dyan in order to gain advantages for his own unit. You negotiate with the subordinates for improved commitment and loyalty, with the peers for cooperation, coordination, and integration with workers and their unions regarding conditions of employment, commitment, productivity, with the government about providing facilities for business expansion. So again, class, and to end up this discussion as a manager, kailangan meron kang pagmamahal sa iyong trabaho. Kailangan may pagmamahal ka sa iyong mga tauhan, sa iyong mga empleyado. Importante yan. Hindi lang yung skills, hindi lang yung talino, hindi lang yung authority mo, yung pinagtutuunan mo ng pansin bilang isang leader or manager. So, lahat ng itong nabanggit na duties ng isang manager it is essential, vital to you bilang in the future, ano, napakalaking tulong nito bilang mga law enforcers, ano, yung management, yung functions of management. That would be the end of our discussion for today, for this lesson. Thank you and God bless.